that feeling of working harder than everyone else just to keep things together, only to end the day exhausted, overwhelmed, and wondering why it feels like you're never really allowed to just rest? There's a trap that so many ADHD women fall into, a silent trap that feels like the only way to survive in a world that doesn't understand us. And here's the thing, it works until it doesn't. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on this ADHD trap that nobody talks about, but we all fall into. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why you've been stuck in this cycle and how to start stepping out of it without losing yourself in the process. Hey, I'm Jen Barnes, and after 25 plus years in the mental health field and my own late ADHD diagnosis, I've seen and lived this trap firsthand. This is for every ADHD woman who feels like she's doing everything right, yet feels scattered, overwhelmed, and disconnected from herself. Because the truth is, this trap isn't who you are, it's who you learn to be. And you deserve to know the difference. So let's go back for a minute. Imagine little you figuring out how to survive in a world full of rules that made no sense for your ADHD brain. Maybe you learned early on that when you were too much, too loud, too forgetful, too messy, too emotional, you got criticism, complaints, or even got in trouble. But when you were helpful, easy, pleasant, high achieving, you got a little bit of breathing room, maybe even some praise. So you adapted. You built an invisible armor. You learned how to hide your struggles, smooth things over, and try to keep everyone else happy so you could feel safer. That armor, that's masking. And this particular trap, the one that still has you running on fumes today, is what I call the masking trifecta. Let's pull it apart piece by piece. First, we'll start with overfunctioning. For many of us, this shows up as constantly doing way more than our fair share at home, at work, in friendships, because somewhere inside we feel like we have to earn our place in the world. You know the pattern, saying yes to everything, taking on every project, being the leader of so many groups, handling other people's responsibilities because it feels easier than asking them to step up. Sure, you get the gold stars, the recognition, the wow, you're amazing, how do you do it all comments, but behind the scenes, you're running on empty. You push and push until you crash. Sometimes you get up and do it all over again. Sometimes the crash lasts weeks or even months. Over time, this cycle can turn into chronic stress, anxiety, and even chronic illness. But here's the kicker. This isn't laziness or weakness on your part. It's a survival strategy you learned long ago, and it worked until now. The next layer of the trap is people pleasing. This one is sneaky because it looks like kindness. We say yes to favors, extra projects, volunteering, being the emotional support friend, and it feels good to help. We want to help. But there's often another reason underneath it, often beneath our awareness. Saying no can feel dangerous to some of our parts. It feels like rejection or criticism waiting to happen. So we keep saying yes. The problem? Our to-do list grows longer than we can possibly manage. We lose touch with what we actually want. And even though we're surrounded by people, it's lonely because deep down, we're not sure if they like us for us or just for what we give to them. This is where masking gets heavy. We start to disappear in our own lives, buried under everyone else's needs. And then there's perfectionism, the fuel that keeps overfunctioning and people-pleasing burning hot. We push ourselves harder than anyone else ever could. Every task feels like it has to be flawless. Every mistake feels like failure. But ADHD brains don't work like that. We're not wired for rigid perfection. And yet, we keep trying. The result? Paralysis. We procrastinate because starting feels impossible if we can't do it perfectly. Or we finish things but spend hours, days, tweaking, editing, redoing until we're exhausted. And here's the cruel irony: perfectionism is meant to protect us from shame and criticism, but it only builds more of it. It keeps us locked out of rest, out of fun, and often out of knowing who we really are underneath the mask. And that can feel lonely. So here's where this trap leaves so many ADHD women: burnt out, sometimes chronically ill, achievements piling up, but meaning slipping away, being surrounded by people, but feeling lonely and unseen. And worst of all, disconnected from our own joy because fun and rest are always the first things to go. This trap is heavy, but it's not permanent. And the fact that you've made it this far, carrying all of this, says everything about your strength and resilience. You did what you needed to survive. Now you get to learn a different way. If this hits home for you, if you've been living in this trap and you're ready to start peeling back the mask, not in a scary, rip it off kind of way, but layer by layer with compassion, then I want to invite you to something special I created. It's my journal book experience, The Self Loved ADHD Woman Way: How to Stop Playing Small with ADHD. It's a guided experience to help you reconnect with yourself, find safety outside of the mask, and start building a life where you don't have to overfunction, people please, or be perfect just to feel okay. You can check it out at jenbarnes.org, or the link is in the description. Because you deserve a life that feels like yours, not just a life you've learned to survive. I'll see you next time. Take care.